Hi again, Mark here from TalkingBass.net. Today I'll be working through another top 5 list, this time of classic disco bass riffs. Again, these are in no particular order or ranking, it's just 5 of the riffs that I think give a good all-round representation of the disco feel and style. There are a few notable exceptions that you might be wondering about, like Blame It on the Boogie and a few others, but I've tried to stick to lines that aren't being doubled by other instruments like guitar or keys, so these riffs are just pure bass. As always, the lesson material is available to download over at TalkingBass.net, so just hit the link in the info below, and remember to check out all the other lessons in the lesson map. Also, be sure to sign up to TalkingBass.net for free, and you'll gain access to a ton of free bass practice resources and downloads. There's a bunch of free ebooks, there's the practice room, a forum, and much more, so go check that out. Okay, so let's begin with probably the most well-known riff on this list, and that's Good Times by Chic, which you might also know as the riff from Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, and the bass line's played by Bernard Edwards. So here's the riff first of all. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's in E minor and it's pretty much based on an E Dorian scale, but don't worry too much about that for now. So we begin with 3 hits on the open E string. So we have, okay, then we have 3 little hits on the E string, so okay, 3 little 16th notes there, and then we start the ascent through this scale. So we have F sharp, G, and A. So that's 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and 5th fret, all on the E string. So far we have okay, then we move on to the A string and we have B, C sharp, D. So 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. So all together. Then we have E, 2nd fret of the D string, and then back to the open A string. So okay, so that's the first part to nail, okay? So one thing to pay attention to is the length of those notes in there. Once you get to the G and we're ascending from there, they're quite short notes. So we have here how I'm playing quite staccato there, so I'm cutting them off. So I'm not playing full duration. It's okay, so that's the first part that you want to nail. Next, let's just add a couple more notes in there. So we'll add 2 open A's, and that's going to be on beats 2 and 3. Now, this section with the open A's is very similar to the opening with the open E's. 1, 2, 3. But the first of those notes is just slightly before the first beat. It's actually a 16th note early. So when we come up through it, that A there is just slightly before. So if you put a foot tap just after, Okay, you can see my head nodding there. And then we're going to be counting on 2 and 3 for the other 2 open A's. So we have the following. 2, 3. Okay, so you just want to get that rhythm off first. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Okay, so just get that bit off first. For the next part of the riff, we have that famous little line that sounds like this. Okay, so for this we have the open A again, and that's again just slightly before beat 1. So if we were counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 E and A. Okay, so it's on the A of that beat, just in case you want to figure out exactly where it is with the subdivisions. So 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 E and A. And then we have, so we have open A again, then F sharp, 4th fret of the D string, open A, and then G, 5th fret of the D string. So, and then we come back to the F sharp, 4th fret of the D string. Okay, so that G there, the 5th fret of the D string, that's a little bit more staccato than the other notes. So, and then we're back to the open A again. Okay, so very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's add that to the first part of the riff. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the riff so far. The final lick in this riff moves back down onto the E string and sounds like this. 2, 3. Okay, so we have open E, then we have G, 3rd fret, open E again, F sharp, G, E. So that's 2nd fret and 3rd fret. So we have open E string, 3rd fret, open E string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and then back to the open E, and that's the beginning of the riff again. Okay, so in terms of the timing, it's just before beat 4, so we count 1, 2, 3, and then we're in. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now let's add that to the rest of the riff. So very slowly we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you just want to play round and round on that, slowly, getting it under your fingers, and then just gradually build up speed. And you eventually want to move up to 112 beats per minute. Next we have the cool riff from And the Beat Goes On by the Whispers, and the riff sounds like this. Okay, so that's the riff on its own in isolation, and this is the main riff from the tune, but if you listen to the original, you will hear some variations here and there, you know, probably improvised variations in the studio. So, you know, learn this riff, then have a listen to it, and you'll be able to, you know, maybe learn some of the variations as well. So, this is pretty much in B minor, and we begin with a B, 2nd fret of the A string, so. Then we have a little run up, and it starts on the 2nd subdivision of beat 2. So we have it starting on E. So 1 E and a 2 E. Okay, so just to let you know where it is. So we have. Okay, so we have B, then B, 2nd fret A string, open D, E, second fret of the D string, F sharp, fourth fret of the D string, then A, second fret of the G string, and then back to the F sharp, fourth fret of the D string. So, okay, so that's pretty much the trickiest part of the line. So I'll break that down a little bit in terms of the fingering that we can use in the picking hand. But let's just have a listen to that again. So 1 E and a 2. So when you go for the ascending line, just keep that foot tapping, tap on 1, and then when it comes to the second beat, let the foot tap. I'll nod the head to emulate it, but and it comes just after there. Okay, now there's two different ways that you could play this. You could use a rake, or you could alternate pick everything. So if you want to alternate pick everything, what you could do is play the first note, the B there, with the first finger, and then just for the ascending line start it on the second finger. So then we'd have second finger, first finger, second finger, first finger, second finger for the A there, and then the first finger there on the F sharp. So okay, or you could rake it. You could rake it with that fingering and actually use the second finger to rake, but I tend to prefer raking with the first finger. I know some people rake with the second finger, but it just feels weird to me. So I tend to try raking on the first finger where I can. So if you want to play it like that, it's a little bit easier to play it if you pick the first beat with the second finger, and then for the ascending line, start with the first finger. So then you have first finger, second finger, first finger, second finger, first finger for the A at the top, and just rake it back to the F sharp. So, okay, so I'm just raking that finger, that first finger back, A to the F sharp. Okay, so, okay, so either way, doesn't really matter, you know, whatever feels right for you, as long as you've got the notes under it, under your fingers, and you've got the right feel, it doesn't really matter. Now let's add a few more notes and work our way towards the G. So we'll have the following. Okay, so we've got F sharp, fourth fret of the D string, open E string, F sharp, second fret of the E string, we play that twice, and then we've got the G there. So that's a nice little syncopated 16th note there. It's actually a dotted 8th note, 16th note, tied across to 2 8th notes. Really, really popular rhythm, but if you don't know anything about that terminology, don't worry, just listen to it. So we have, okay, and if we add that to the first part of the riff, okay. Finally, we just have this little line that leads us back to the start of the riff, back up to the B, and it sounds like this. Okay, so we have a G octave, so 3rd fret E string, 5th fret D string, back to the G down on the bottom, and then the open A string leading back up to the B. So, and that's it. So very slowly, the riff sounds like this. Okay, so you just want to get that under your fingers. You can play it out of time if you want to begin with, and then eventually, once you've got it under your fingers, try to nail those 16th note rhythms in there, and then just start slowly on the metronome and build up speed. So you could take it at a tempo like this. So this is 70 beats per minute. All 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. And then just gradually build up speed until you get to the original tempo at 113 beats per minute. Next we have the main riff from the song Stomp by the Brothers Johnson, and of course this is played by the late great Louis Johnson. So, very slowly the main riff sounds like this. Okay, so it's in G minor, and we begin on the G there, 3rd fret of the E string. So then we have F to G, so that's 3rd fret D string, 5th fret D string. So then back down to the G, 3rd fret of the E string. So all of those notes together. Then we move up to the B flat there, 3rd fret of the G string. So, okay, so we've got 2 longer notes on there. So, then we have this little turnaround down here on the F, and this is played after each part of the riff. So we next have the open E to the F. Okay, so 1st fret of the E string. So that's going to sound like this. Okay, so you could also play that as a ghost note and then the F rather than the open E to the F, but I think that using that open E string as a ghost note to get to the F is actually a little bit easier on the hands, because you're up here and then you've got to get down here, so using the open E string is quite useful there. And because it goes by so fast, you don't really hear the pitch in there. It actually sounds like a ghost note. So we have, and then we're back to the G. So that's the first part of the riff. The second part of the riff is almost identical. So we've got G, F, G, G. Then we move up to the C, 5th fret of the G string, and then down to the B flat, 3rd fret of the G string. So, okay, so almost the same, but instead of fitting the B flat, we've got C to B flat. So, once more. Okay, so now let's put both of those together. And then we use the low F there again to bring us back round. And that's the whole riff. So, round and round, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so work through that riff slowly and get it under your fingers, and then just gradually build up speed. And a good starting tempo would be something like 90 beats per minute, which would sound like this. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then just gradually build up speed until you get to the original tempo, which is 120 beats per minute. The next riff is I Need Your Lovin' by Teena Marie, and slowly it sounds like this. Okay, so that's the whole thing, and it's in B minor, and it's a lot easier if you just have a look at what the notes are going to be in there first, and then we can add the rhythm later. So it's a very limited palette of notes. So we've got B, C sharp, and D. So it's 2nd fret, 4th fret, and 5th fret on the A string. B, C sharp, D, and I'm using the 1st, 3rd, and 4th fingers for those notes. And we also include the F sharp 2nd fret of the E string in there. So, and that's all of the notes that we're going to use. So to begin with, we have this lead into the riff with the low F sharp. So we begin on the low F sharp, so that's the 2nd fret of the E string, and then we move into the B 2nd fret of the A string. So we have, okay, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the beginning. Then we just come up and down those notes. So we have, so we've just played up B, C sharp, D, C sharp, and back. Then we move back down to the F sharp and then back to the B. And the timing's very, very important on this. So I'll just count in again. 2, 3, 4. Then we move back down to the F sharp again. Okay, so we've got that little syncopated 16th note. Then we're back up to the B. So we have B, and then we actually have a ghost note. So I played it as a fretted note there, but it's actually a ghost note. So once again, we're just moving up and down those notes. B, C sharp, D, C sharp, B. But it's just a little bit of a different rhythm. So, and that's it. That's the whole riff. So slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the whole riff. Okay? So just like all the other riffs that I've covered here, there's quite a few syncopated 16th notes going on in there. So the best way to nail these is to just listen to that riff over and over and really try and feel those rhythms in there. Like I've said, if you really want to analyze it and look at what the actual 16th notes are, then download the sheet music and have a look. But I would definitely say that just listening and just nailing it with your ear is probably the best way to do this in terms of feel, okay? So get those notes under your fingers, and then when you move on to the click, maybe start at 70 beats per minute and then gradually work your way up to the original, which is 109 beats per minute. Finally, we have the riff from the song Boogie Oogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey, and this is a really cool riff that slowly sounds like this. Okay, so that's the whole thing. So this riff's in D minor, and we begin with a D octave, 5th fret of the A string, 7th fret of the G string, and the pattern sounds like this. So we have low D and then 2 high Ds. Then we have open A string moving up to the C, 3rd fret of the A string. Then we repeat that C and then come back up to the D. So okay, then we have those 2 high Ds again. So we've moved back up into this octave pattern. So okay, so that's the first part to nail. Then we have the open A string again, and then we have these 2 octaves, D and D flat, or C sharp. So we have, and this is leading us into the C natural there. So we have, and then we're down into the C. So once more, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then for the C we have pretty much almost a repeat of the first part, but we just played on C. So we have, okay, so C octave, 3rd fret A string, 5th fret G string, so low 2 highs, so, and then open A string back to the C, then another 2 Cs, and then we've got the 2 high Cs. So it's worth just listening round and round on this pattern to nail it. So and then we have C octave, C sharp octave to bring us back up to the D. So we have 3rd fret A string, 5th fret G string, and then 4th fret A string, and then 6th fret G string. So and then we're back to the top. So all together. that's the whole riff. So you just play that round and round, just go slow to begin with, and then just gradually build up speed until you get up to the top speed of 124. So I would start at something like 90 beats per minute, something like that. So if we take it up to 90, let's see how that sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just gradually build up speed to 124 beats per minute. Okay, so that's my top 5 disco bass lines. Remember to like this video if it's helped and subscribe to the YouTube channel for updates on all the weekly lessons. And I also live stream every Sunday, so come along to that too. And I'll see you later.